I have a collection of seasonal odds and ends to create with, and I'll discuss these in greater length as we go. Here's an old tree that's seen better days. For a second chance, flatten the branches downward to create a bearded effect. Next, add a nose. It could be cordstock or a wooden circle. If a wooden circle, add paint and allow to dry. Now we will use some spare fabric, any will do. Felt also works nicely. Fold your fabric and trace a triangular hat pattern and then cut. Flip your fabric over. For smooth edges, glue the edges inward for a more complete, smooth look. You could sew, but I prefer hot glue. Glue one edge of the pattern to the other side, creating a pointy hat. To complete the look, glue the top seams together at the top of the hat. Remember to always allow the glue time to dry. Just pull your hat onto the top of the tree. Hot glue your nose under the hat, and why stop there? Let's add mittens. Trace your pattern over 2 layers of fabric or felt, then cut. This is what you'll end up with. Glue the sides together, leaving the bottom open. Fabric glue also works. Once dry, slip your mittens onto the branches and bend to your liking. The pine cone gnome. Again, I will make the hat the same way with an extra step this time. We'll use cordstock and draw a hat pattern and glue together. This will hold your hat upright and keep its shape. Now cut your fabric pattern that will go over the cordstock shaper. Glue your hat as in the previous craft and let dry. I have this old garland I was cleaning out, and I decided to use it for the nose and an extra touch. Felt or cardstock could also be a substitute, and any odds and ends you may have hanging around. Glue your hat onto the top of the pine cone, and don't be shy with the glue. Next, I wanted to add a rim to my hat so the hat would be in line with the nose. I glued the edges inward and then applied to the pine cone like a ribbon and secured with hot glue. The pine cone itself is bearded enough, but I added some decorative pieces from an old floral arrangement for some extra character and glued them down. What to do with old holiday swags? You can repurpose them. Use cardstock as a base and trim into a beard shape. Add lots of glue. I use a mixture of sealing glue and hot glue to preserve the craft. Lay out your leaves or floral pieces into the shape of a beard. I'm using a mason jar lid for the nose and a felt piece for the hat. I fold up the bottom of the felt and glue to make the hat trim. Then I cut the top of the felt like a lumpy old hat and glued to the cardstock. I added an extra little touch to the rim with some extra pieces and glued on my mason jar lid partially under the hat. We can't waste, so let's use that mason jar. Give it 2 coats of any color you please and let it dry. While waiting, I have an old brush. Let's paint the handle as well. Then I wrapped ribbon around the brush metal and glued it in place. I added a fabric ribbon and bow. For the nose, I glued on a pom-pom. Back to the mason jar. I have some old tinsel and it's perfect beard material. I cut it into slivers and glued to the mason jar to make a nice fluffy beard. And then I added a pom-pom for the nose. I didn't want to waste the rest of that wiry tinsel, so I spiraled it into some hat stuffing and glued it to the mason jar. Then I created the same hat pattern with the rest of the fabric scraps as before. I glued for added stability, and as a last touch added a pom-pom to the end of the cap. Now you have a collection of nice winter gnomes.